Cal Ranch is celebrating loyal customers like you with big savings on your everyday essentials. Update the farm or supply your adventures for even less right now at your local Cal Ranch. Starting with a free $20 gift card when you purchase Keen utility boots that are $100 and up. At Cal Ranch, you'll find savings on brands you trust, like Carhartt, Cat, Dickies, and more, including a special 25% off Dickies workwear for men and women. And it's the perfect time to refresh and refill with deals like buy 3, get 1 free on bags of poultry feed that are 35 pounds and up. Plus Powder Creek 12-foot panels for $25 off at Cal Ranch.
We're your Cal Ranch store, ranch and home store, and so much more.
We're proud to serve you with savings through July 29th at Cal Ranch.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only 2 things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to another beautiful Saturday morning, enjoying a little cloud cover this morning, which is nice. Welcome to the Garden Guide here on KVNU. I'm Will Feelwright, joining the studio as always with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. I was just looking, Mark, because a lot of people are complaining about how hot it is right now, but if you look at the almanac down through the years, we are actually below average.
Below average, yeah.
Yeah, by about 2 to 3 degrees, which isn't much, but still.
This whole week has been that way. Yeah, it's been very pleasant.
Yeah, yesterday's high only 87 degrees. The average is 91. So we're going to take it. I was out in the garden last night, and wow. Corn has tasseled. It's got to be sprayed today, that's for sure. And
you don't want little worms in your corn?
Oh, man. It tasseled so fast. It's all of a sudden, it was like, boom.
Just took off. Yeah. Mine's just starting to tassel, too, and I fertilized this week. So I'm content. I got a little bit of nitrogen on the corn this week. And then I got our cucumbers planted a little bit late, so they are just flowering and getting going. But my sister just dropped off like a bag of cucumbers that she harvested yesterday. So nice. I'm like, yes, I'll take them. Yes, bring them over. They're mine.
We've started to try to figure out what we were going to do with all of our zucchini. We've been eating zucchini all week this week, and you can only do so many things with zucchini.
Pick the zucchinis, but if you've got some really nice onions with them, then you can saute the zucchinis and the onions.
That's always good. And then put a little cheese on top of it.
Delicious.
Yeah. So we've got a lot we can talk about this morning, as a lot of gardens starting to harvest, but still seeing a lot of insects. Grasshoppers are everywhere. Also seeing a lot of, lawn stress, and so we can talk about that this morning too.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of that. So.
Yeah. So phone lines are open for the Garden Guide. If you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, phone number is 435-753 KVNU. That's 753-5868. And really with the cooler temperatures, and not much, but still a little cooler, it is helping, because right now we have not had any moisture at all during the month of July. And so it has been a very, very dry July. And I noticed the Division of Water at the Division of Wildlife Resources, they were saying that overall, throughout the state, the overall water levels have really dropped in the last month.
Right.
Partly due to the fact that we have not had any water. But
there's been no additional water.
No rain at all.
Them. Yeah.
And so definitely something that a lot of us are kind of looking at, because we are having to do a lot of watering, but you want to kind of find that happy medium so that you are able to still take care of your lawn, still take care of your garden, but not use so much water. So we can definitely talk about that.
Exactly. And what we've been encouraging everyone to do this spring is to use products like Hydrotain or Back to Green, which can make your watering much, much more efficient than usual and much more effective because it's absorbing it down into the soil. It's holding it there where the root zone is of the plant so they can pick up and utilize that water. So if you use a product like Hydrotain, the Hydrotain will eliminate 30 to 40% of your water and still keep your plants looking great. So you could, if you're watering Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you could take one of those days out completely and do Mondays and Thursdays. You could take 33% of your watering out, and you'd never even notice it in your lawn because of how effective the water is. And so it really is a water conservation product that will allow you to use less water but still see the same results. And I'm noticing in my garden that like my cucumbers are stressing a little bit more in between waterings because it has been hot, has been really dry. But they're in a spot where the soil is just not quite as good as other parts of my garden. And I've gone in and used the Hydrotain in that area just on the cucumbers because they're the ones that are stressing, and they are not stressing anymore. It's like really holding that moisture and keeping that water there for the plants to be able to utilize. So they're going in an extra day or two in between waterings than they were previously because of that Hydrotain. And we're basically doing the same thing on Center Street as well too. So if you hadn't noticed, just from the 4th of July to the 24th of July, which is just 20 days, we saw a huge jump in the flowers. Like I've got photos of when we planted. I've got photos of the 4th of July, and I've got photos of the day after the 24th of July. So I think we did the 5th and the 25th. And it's pretty crazy to see how big they are and how much they grew in just 20 days, where they have like tripled or quadrupled in size. Yeah, in size. But we did the same thing. We used the Hydrotain and we got that into the soil. And so our water's more effective. We're not having to water as much. But then as the plants are picking up the water, they're picking up the nutrient as well, too. Yeah, so they're getting the fertilizer that we're fertilizing them with. So they got a slow release season-long fertilizer to start the year off with when we planted them the first part of June. And then twice a week, they're getting either compost tea or blooming and rooting or a tiger bloom type fertilizer and an all-purpose fertilizer. So we're using local products like Bicor's products, which are made here in Cache Valley, made right here in Logan. We're using their Pro Bloom, and we're using their all-purpose fertilizer, and they have all the micronutrients in there. They've got all the major nutrients in different blends, depending on whether you want want to encourage flowers or if you want to get the plants to really grow. So we like to alternate between a higher nitrogen with the micronutrients in it to like encourage growth, to get those like sweet potato vines to crawl out of the flower beds and go down onto the sidewalk and crawl across the sidewalk. But then we'll alternate with a high phosphorus, high potassium fertilizer to encourage flower production. And so between the two, we're encouraging growth to get them to fill in those flower beds, but we're also doing a fertilizer to encourage the flower production as well too. Yeah. And so that's why their stuff's looking so good right now. It looks really, really nice. You walk down Center Street, and actually had somebody stop me after the Pioneer Day parade the other day.
Oh yeah, on Thursday.
Yeah. And they're like, I was in Europe and we were taking pictures of all these beautiful flowers in, like Switzerland and Germany and stuff. And then she's like, then I came home and I came to Center Street and she's like, I don't even know why I took pictures over there because these are more beautiful than anything I've seen anywhere else, so thank you for doing that. And I was like, oh yeah, awesome. That's great.
And next time she has a ticket to Switzerland, she can give it to us.
Exactly. She doesn't even have to go.
Street.
Yeah, she doesn't even have to go. That's right. Because we've got it right here on Center Street.
Well, it is really beautiful this time of year, especially if, you have Center Street. And then a lot of us love to walk around the temple grounds, which are always always beautiful this time of year. The university is gorgeous.
They've got tons of stuff up at Utah State.
Just a lot of beauty around there.
We have a lot of great environments in our community where you can go, and whether it's a park or whether it's Center Street or whether it's up Logan Canyon, we've got some really amazing places to recreate and to enjoy nature and what's growing around us. And we have a lot of people that are very conscientious of the environment as well too, and they want to beautify it. And they want to make it look pretty. So we can go out and enjoy it and see the colors, and it just kind of makes things a lot more pleasant.
Yeah. Now, a call I just barely had, and it was with a gentleman who was on a cell phone, and he didn't have a really strong connection. So he said he would ask a question and then just be able to listen on the air.
Okay.
He wanted to know, what is your formula for being able to determine if he's watering his lawn enough, like using a tuna fish can spread out throughout his yard?
Yeah,
what's your formula for that?
So that is a great question, and this is the perfect time of year to address it because it is hot and dry, and we need to make sure we water properly, but we don't want to water too much or not enough because then our grass is going to stress or we're going to just be wasting water. So what Utah State University recommends is that you apply 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week during the hot, dry part of the summer. So we're talking June to first part of September.
Okay.
So during those 3 months, we're going to water 1 to 1.5 inches of water. Depends on your soil type, obviously, but that's enough to keep your turf looking great, but not overusing too much water. And that should be in 2 or 3 applications.
Okay.
So what I try and do is try and stick with the 2, and we shoot for somewhere between a 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch of water with the 2 applications. So if you're doing 3/4 of an inch of water twice a week, you're putting 1.5 inches out there, which is exactly what your turf needs. Yeah.
Okay.
And what's hard to determine is how much water your sprinklers put out in a certain amount of time. So when I go out and I teach classes and I teach seminars, all over the valley and actually throughout the state, and I will go and I'll ask the people that are there, and sometimes I've got 100 people there, and it's just like, okay, by raise of hand, who knows how much water your sprinklers put out in a half an hour? And there's like 3 people.
Yeah. It's like crickets.
Yeah, 3 out of 100 will raise their hand because it's just not something that you know. And then you ask a little bit deeper and you go, okay, why don't you know how much water your sprinklers put out? And they're like, well, the sprinkler guy came and installed the sprinklers, and he set the timer, and so that's what I go with, because that's what they set it at. Well, every sprinkler is different. Every plant grows and starts to block the sprinklers. And I mean, there's a lot of different factors involved in there. But if you have pop-up sprinklers, the ones that pop up and they spray the entire area that they cover all at the same time, right? So they don't move. They're not gear driven. They're not Rainbird sprinklers. They're pop-ups. They pop up, and if it sprays a circle, the whole circle gets hit with the water the entire time that it's going. Those need about 20 to 25 minutes per application to put out about a 1/2 inch of water.
Okay.
So about a 1/2 inch of water takes about 20 to 25 minutes. But if you have a gear-driven sprinkler or a Rainbird type sprinkler, if they are doing a circle also, they don't hit the whole circle the whole time. They move, and so they move around. So they can do a much larger area because they spray farther out.
Right,
so,
right.
And they usually put out a larger volume of water. But since they put out a larger volume of water, they do a larger area. But you have to leave them on longer to get the same amount of water as you would with those pop-ups. And so you really have to leave them on for between 40 and 50 minutes to get a 1/2 inch of water. Yeah. So certain parts of your sprinkler system should be running at different times. So like at my house where I've got some pop-ups and we've got some shrub landscaped areas that are getting hit there as well too, and some other spots. Those pop-ups I leave on for 20 to 25 minutes. But then the rest of my turf gets the gear-driven sprinklers, and so they're on for 45. So we do 45 minutes on ours, and that works great. And where I'm doing about 3/4 of an inch of water with each application, I can get away with twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah, twice a week, especially where we're using the Hydratane. So we've been using Hydratane, and we put a little bit of Back to Green in there as well too. So those are helping the soil absorb the moisture that's being applied, whether it's Mother Nature or whether it's the sprinklers. It's taking that moisture and it's pulling it down into the soil, and it's holding it there in the soil where the plants and the grass and the turf especially can get it. And so it's making your water more effective, more efficient, and more available to your plants, where it doesn't just evaporate off and is lost almost immediately. So if you can set your sprinklers according to that rule, you're going to be pretty close. But then it's a great idea to use some tuna cans or some measuring devices that are made to measure how much water you're applying, and then periodically, a couple times during the summer, put those out and make sure your sprinklers are hitting those spots.
And it would be a good idea to put them in a couple different variable spots.
Exactly.
Because one thing we found is that if you have, say, for example, the pop-up rainbirds, some of them are adjusted. You can adjust, how far they go and how much they water between point A to point B. And a lot of times you may have this beautiful outer ring of grass that's just so green and luscious. And it looks like a donut. Inside is everything dead.
Exactly. Yeah. So your sprinklers need to cover and overlap properly. So when we're setting up a sprinkler zone and helping a customer do that, your sprinklers want to basically hit each other. And so if you've got, a perfectly square turf, and you can put 9 sprinklers in there, every sprinkler should hit each other. And the one in the middle of that square should hit the not the 4 corners, because it's not going to quite reach the corners, but it should hit the 4 on the sides.
Right, overlap.
Yeah, it should overlap. So they should all be hitting each other. And if they do that, then you get that nice, good overlapping coverage with the sprinklers. One sprinkler doesn't cover very well because it puts out a lot of water right next to the sprinkler, and it puts out a lot of water at the far end of where it sprays, but sometimes it doesn't put a lot out in between.
Yeah.
And so if your sprinklers are all covering each other that way, then you don't have those dry spots that pop up. But if you're also not checking your sprinklers at least monthly, then, you wake up in the morning and it's 6 o'clock and the sprinklers went off, during the night or first thing in the morning, and you look at the sidewalk and you go, oh, sidewalk's wet, sprinklers are doing their job. Well, that means it watered your sidewalk, not
the lawn.
Not that it watered your lawn. Yeah. And so you want to make sure your sprinklers are working properly, because all it takes is one big tire on your sprinkler, and all of a sudden your sprinkler is pointing a different direction than it was, or one shrub decided to grow 12 inches instead of its usual 3, and then it's blocking the sprinkler, and it's not the water's not going. So it's like we've got a spot at Jump the Moon right around the corner from us, and the whole lawn looks great, and there's one section that's just kind of dry, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, what the heck? Oh, the light pole's right there. It's blocking the sprinkler. I can see exactly where the sprinkler's getting blocked by the light pole. And the sprinkler on the other side we had to take out because it was so old and ancient that it wasn't working and just needed to be capped. And so it's not getting that double coverage, and so it's got a little dry spot right there. Yeah. So you gotta be aware of those changes that get made, because sometimes you'll do it and you go, oh, it's not a big deal, and then 2 months later you go, oh, well, there's kind of a brown spot here. I wonder why. And then, oh, we changed that sprinkler. I had to change that sprinkler. Hit it with the aerator by accident. I put a different sprinkler in there, and it's not covering quite the same as the old sprinkler. Yeah.
So if you, to our caller's question, if you have some tuna cans, if you were to put those tuna cans out, maybe under your pop-ups and then also under your rainbirds, and then measure how much water you get for one watering.
Yeah.
You should be, now those tuna cans are about twice the diameter that you would normally have for an inch. So if you would have, say, around an inch of water in that tuna can, that's about what you're looking for, because you want a ½ inch per watering.
Yeah.
And with those tuna cans being a little larger, then if you can get it between a ½ inch to an inch, then you probably should be right in that
pretty close.
Good spot.
And there's some devices that are made specifically to measure your water, because like even a tuna can, it's kind of shallow. It's cylindrical on the sides, but it's kind of shallow. So sometimes you get water splashing in there, and then it splashes some of the water out. And so you don't get like a perfect measurement either. But some like USU Extension used to have the measuring devices that you could come in and you could borrow those and spread them around. I don't know if they do that anymore. And they also had a program a couple of years ago where they'd come and actually do an analysis on your sprinklers, which was amazing. Yeah. I think our Cache Water District is trying to get that back and get that funded again, because that was super, super effective when we could go to people's homes, run their sprinklers through a cycle, and then tell people, hey, your sprinklers are super efficient, but they're not covering over here.
Right.
Or your sprinklers are sorely deficient.
Yeah.
And we need to put more in.
Increase them a little bit.
Yeah, or add larger emitters or something. I mean, they were wonderful to come and do that. And it was free. It was a free service, and it just made everyone's watering much, much more effective and efficient than it was previously. Yeah.
All right. Well, a great question. And if you've got a question or comment for Mark, phone lines are open at 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. Mark, we kind of jumped right into questions this morning and didn't get a chance to talk about what's going on this weekend at Anderson's.
All the special sales going on at Anderson's right now. So trees, shrubs, vines, evergreens, flowering trees, shade trees, all 20% off right now. And we kind of did that sale for our Mad Money sale, which was last week, but we just decided to keep it going. So there's still 20% off all of our trees and shrubs and vines and evergreens. And we did sell a lot. There's quite a few that were gone. And so it's been a great week to get out there and do some planting, add a little bit of plant material to your landscape. So it's been a great week for that. But our fruit trees are still 25% off. So we've got a great selection of fruit trees right now. They are 25% off. And then we've got a lot of small fruits that we are just kind of clearancing out. So they're around 40% off. We've got some that are a little bit less, some that are a little bit more. And we're just trying to find homes for those before the summer is out. So we've got some great prices on some of our small fruits as well, too. Roses, they're 20% off as well, too. And there's some gorgeous roses out in our nursery. I was looking at them yesterday. I was like, dang, these are
beautiful.
These are really nice. Why are they still here? That's my biggest question. It's like, oh, these are gorgeous. Why is it still here in my store? It should be at someone's house. They should be enjoying it instead of it sitting here on my asphalt. So, some great deals going on at Anderson's. It is prime time for doing your summertime fertilizer. So if you have not fertilized your turf, this is the prime time. Usually we're recommending sometime in July, between the 4th of July and the 24th of July is a really great time to fertilize, because your lawn kind of gets stressed. It gets a little tired. And by giving a little boost of fertilizer right now, it's going to encourage a little bit of new growth and really green your lawn up and make it look good. We just did my parents' house like 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. And we came home from work yesterday and we're like, dang, that looks really good. It's like, it's like that fertilizer's really kicked in. It was kind of stressing before. Now it looks awesome. And if you're fertilizing in the middle of the summer and you're going to fertilize your turf, there's a couple things you got to be aware of. Don't use a weed and feed right now. No good on weed and feed. It's too hot. Okay. It'll burn your grass. So we got to wait for it to cool down a little bit. However, if you do just a good fertilizer, high nitrogen, slow release nitrogen, sulfur-coated urea is great because of the extra sulfur that's in there. It really greens things up. A little bit of iron to really green the turf up as well, too. So we usually recommend a product like Green Maker from Fertilome, which is slow-release nitrogen, sulfur, and iron, or our 23-316, which is also sulfur-coated urea, a little bit of sulfur, a little bit of iron in there. Put it on in the evening when the grass is dry. So don't put it on first thing in the morning. Put it on in the evening when the grass is dry. And then water it either that night or the next morning before it gets hot again the next day. And then when it does turn hot the next day, it's already been washed off the grass. It's down into the soil. Grass will pick it up. If you do that, you will never burn your grass.
And then you don't burn it.
Yeah, you will never burn your grass if you put a fertilizer on in the middle of summer, even if it's 105 degrees outside, which it's not. We haven't even hit 100 yet this year, which is amazing. That's great. if you will do that, put it on in the evening, water it that night or the next morning, you'll never burn your grass.
Okay.
Ever. Yeah. I mean, unless you put too much fertilizer on.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a different problem. So completely different problem. But if you do that properly, even when it's really, really hot in the middle of summer, it will be effective. It will really green your turf up. It will make your turf pick up and utilize water better, because usually those fertilizers have a high potassium in there, and the potassium helps the plants pick up and utilize the water. And so it will help with water conservation, get your turf looking really good, and healthy, happy turf. Just it cools the environment, uses water more efficiently. It's just a good thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to do.
All right. Happy turfs means happy homeowners.
That's right. And it cleans our air.
Yeah.
Lots of smoke, lots of dust right now. Turf and plants, they clean our air, make it much more breathable for us.
All right. Well, we can take more of your calls coming up on the other side of the Garden Guide here on KVNU. If you have a question or comment, 753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. We'll be right back with more of the Garden Guide here on KVNU.
Will feel right with a check of our top stories here at the bottom of the hour. Well, Utah Highway Patrol troopers are deploying extra resources on the roads this Pioneer Day weekend to crack down on speeding and driving under the influence. Now, the enhanced enforcement is going to continue through Sunday night. Utah Highway Patrol Corporal Sean Cornwall said that the agency has over 50-plus extra speed shifts and 20-plus extra DUI shifts for the holiday period. Now, speed is consistently a factor in deadly crashes, and this time of year between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days on Utah roads. Now, Cornwall emphasized the serious consequences for impaired driving, stating that if you do choose to drink and drive, hopefully one of the troopers will find you, and you'll get to spend a night in jail. Now, the Utah Highway Patrol's primary goal for the increased patrols is to ensure that everyone makes it home safe during holiday celebrations. And finally, Utah's mink farming industry has hit a historic low, with pelt production dropping below 100,000 for the first time in over 50 years. Now, new federal data shows that just over 95,000 mink pelts were produced in Utah during 2024, a 90% decline from 2014. Now, despite this dramatic drop, Utah still remains the nation's second largest mink-producing state behind Wisconsin. However, the number of active mink farms in Utah has plummeted to fewer than 10, down from over 300 in 1970. Well, we're going to continue to see some really nice weather as we'll have mostly clear skies through the rest of the weekend. Temperatures staying right around the low 90s each afternoon, with overnight temperatures dropping into the high 50s. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News headlines.
I'm Alex DeBarrio. It was a history-making performance by the A's and rookie Nick Kurtz on Friday in Houston as the Athletics took on the Astros. Kurtz playing in just his 66th big league game, already with 5 hits on the day, including 3 long balls, with the A's trouncing the Astros 12-2. He comes back up with 2 men on in the ninth with a history-making exclamation point.
Humbled to the plate in the pitch, swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6! Woo! Oh my!
Wow!
A 4-homer game for Nick Kurtz.
Talk 650 KSTE on the call. Athletics win at 15-3, and Kurtz, nicknamed the Big Amish by his teammates. 4 home runs, 6 hits. The first rookie to ever hit 4 home runs in a game. His 43 extra base hits in his first 66 games, second most in baseball history, behind only Joe DiMaggio. Kurtz on his history-making 4-run game.
A game like that is stuff that you don't even dream about because this doesn't really happen. So it's unbelievable feeling. Glad we got to win, obviously, and to have that performance was awesome.
Moving to the Bronx, the Yankees made a move to improve their defense, adding third baseman Ryan McMahon from the Colorado Rockies less than a week until the trade deadline. McMahon goes to the Yankees from Colorado in exchange for 2 minor leaguers. The Yankees, though, would fall to the Phillies 12-5. Kyle Schwarber with 2 home runs for the Phils, including his 1,000th career hit with his 5th-inning solo home run. Schwarber in second in National League with home runs with 36. Shohei Ohtani's streak of 5 straight games with a homer ended on Friday, but the Dodgers would get an insurance homer from Teoscar Hernandez. pushed the Dodgers to a 5-2 win over the Red Sox. Jackson Chourio extended his hitting streak to 18 games, but the Brewers lost for just the second time in 14 games, falling to the Marlins 5-1. Freddie Peralta's streak of 7 straight starts ends with a no decision. And in the NFL, the Bengals and Shamar Stewart have agreed to terms on his rookie contract.
Fatigue, headaches, weight gain, hair loss, insomnia, anxiety, intestinal issues, joint pain. Do you suffer from consistent symptoms like these, and no matter how many doctors you see, things still don't improve? Whether you have a thyroid problem, an autoimmune issue, or chronic symptoms, we can help. We do complex medical testing and blood work to find the mechanisms driving your symptoms. And then we create a plan to improve each one while we teach you the tools to stay on top of your health. We've been helping patients just like you for almost 14 years now. We see patients from all over the world, and we have an office in St. George, Logan, Salt Lake, Farmington, and Springville. You aren't crazy, you aren't lazy. It's not just because you're getting older, and these symptoms are not normal. No matter what symptoms you have, you shouldn't feel this way, and we can help. Don't accept Band-Aid answers.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is now 8:35, and welcome back to the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. We were talking about watering in the last segment, and a lot of great tips if you want to test your sprinkler system, determine whether or not you're watering, overwatering, underwatering. You can go back and listen to the show, of course, at our website, kvnutalk.com, or Anderson Seed and Garden website as well.
We really should talk about different varieties of turf, because some are more needy than others as well too. So I had somebody in yesterday, and they were like, I want to get rid of this grass. It's like all of a sudden snuck into my lawn. And I was like, that's a turf type ryegrass. You probably ought to keep that.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a darker green. Well, yeah, it is darker green, but it's darker green than the rest of it. It's like, well, we can incorporate that through the rest of your lawn, and it's more drought tolerant, and it's more insect resistant, it's more disease resistant. And, you know, it's like, this is why it's taken over these parts of your lawn, is because you've been attacked by grubs, and they've damaged all your bluegrass, and the ryegrass is taking over. So now you have these sections that are like dark green, and they looked at me and like, no. Okay.
Makes sense.
It's like, no, don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. We'll just incorporate more of it into your turf. And then you won't have to water as much. You'll probably never have to put an insecticide on your lawn again. And they're like, dang, let's do it.
Love that idea.
Yeah, it's like, great. So
okay.
Yeah, so lots of varieties of grass that we can use, you know, and our state has really pushed, you know, slow the flow and get people to start conserving water, especially in years where there's not as much. You know, the last couple of years we've had plentiful water supply, and this year parts of the state, they don't have very much.
Yeah.
You know, drove past Jordanelle Reservoir yesterday. It was full. Like, it was full. Yeah, I was really surprised because, like you said earlier in the show, it's like
some areas.
Yeah, they're
really
saying, oh, you know, our reservoirs are starting to really drop, and I think Bear Lake's like lapping up against the road, and
about
you know,
75% is the last number I saw for Bear Lake.
So there's like hardly any beach. I mean, when there's no beach at Bear Lake, you know, it's pretty full.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty full. But we drove past Jordanelle. It's like, dang, it's like, it's almost like right up to the dam, you know? So there's quite a bit of water, but we need to be more conservative and utilize our water properly. And one of the things we can do is we can start swapping out some of our more thirsty turf for turf that is just as pretty, just as soft, but it uses half as much water. And so if you cut your water use through the summer by half, not only is your water bill going to go down, but it's going to provide more water for someone else who could use it as well too. Yeah. I think sometimes we get in the mindset that, okay, if I don't use this water, then, you know, I'm not going to have it.
It'll go to waste.
It's going to go to waste, you know, but really we're not using it so that someone else can use it. And hopefully everyone starts to get that same mentality where it's like, okay, if I have one water share, you know, I think I have multiple water shares on some of the irrigation canals that are throughout the valley. And it's like, if I don't use that water, it's like I'm just going to lose it.
Yeah.
Well, not using it doesn't mean you lose it.
Right.
It's just conserved for another
time.
Another use, or another time. And so, things are changing a little bit that way. And it would be amazing if we could get some secondary water available to almost all of our residents, here in Cache Valley, at least on the east side of the valley. And, because that's where most of the irrigation canals are, is on the east side. And we could get our residents using secondary water instead of culinary water to water our yards and landscapes. And it would be a lot less expensive. We wouldn't have to treat the water, and it would be much, much more effective that way. So it would be a wonderful advancement in water technology for us. Yeah.
Always go up to my dad's garden and I look at it and I think, Dad, his tomato plants are twice as big, his corn is twice as tall, and the only thing he's doing different, secondary water. That canal water is just great.
Okay, so it was Mark from Green Grow that brought to our attention, hey, if you're using culinary water, you're putting chlorine out in your soil like every time you water. And I had never even
thought of that,
conceived of it. I was just like, you know what? You're right. Whatever we're using to treat the water is ending up in our soil. And we're fortunate here in Logan and in most parts of Cache Valley, we don't have to treat our water much.
Right.
I mean, a little bit to just clean up a few bacteria and things that are in there. But, even that little bit of treatment ends up accumulating in our soil over time. But if you're using secondary water, it's just like coming right from the river. It's running over all those rocks, all those minerals, and couple
cows,
cow biscuits, and
a few other things.
Put a little nutrition in there for the plants as well too, and it does. It makes a difference. It does. It makes a difference over time. So at Anderson's this weekend, we've got some great deals going on. So roses are on sale, trees are on sale, shrubs, vines, evergreens, they're all 20% off right now. But our fruit trees are 25% off, and I have some great selections available still. So we've got apples and pears, cherries, apricots, plums, nectarines, peaches. That's a miracle we've got peaches left this time of year. We usually are completely out of peaches by the first part of July, so we actually have peaches left. So great time of year to get some fruit trees. They're 25% off at Anderson's. And then some of our small fruits are on sale from 20% to 40% off. So we've got a lot of different prices going on some of those as well too. So good deals happening at Anderson's if you want to get a few plants planted outside in your yard. And it is cooler right now. It's been a dry yet a cool July.
Yeah.
So we'll take it.
Yeah, especially with the lack of water we've had. Well, speaking of water, we have Carlos joining us on the line talking about secondary water. Carlos, welcome to the show. And there you go. Carlos, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You were talking about secondary water.
Yes.
Well, I grew up 35 miles from here, good old farm boy, irrigated farm. I moved back here, and we got tired of irrigating out of open ditches.
Yes.
And we had an opportunity to take and form I call it my neighborhood project. We went in, we developed it. It's been in service for 20 years. And people don't realize how much they save.
Yes.
Yes, it was expensive. But we've only had maybe 3-4 breaks in 20 years. And we deliver water to 66 acres.
Wow.
And it was designed to go with the growth of open areas that don't have homes on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it makes a difference, doesn't it, Carlos, to your lawn and your garden?
It makes a real big difference. And I also have some agriculture property here. But it's just the idea that we're saving the culinary. And you cannot believe how many people forget one of these days you're not going to have anything to drink.
Yep.
So you better start looking at how you're going to get water for your plants and worry about yourself.
Yes, exactly. So did you all kind of get together and just say, hey, let's do this, and we're going to put money into the infrastructure, and then you piped it and just got it to all the different properties? Is that how it worked?
You wouldn't believe what happened. They met at my house, We had the discussion, can we do it? We sold membership in our water company.
Okay.
And that started the finance. We went on down through $50,000 loan, finished it out. I put a lot of my own money in it.
Yes, of course.
Wow,
yes.
yeah.
Usually a few people have to step up a little bit. So.
Oh, yes. And had a lot of slave labor. I was still able to take and run a trencher for the small pipe.
Okay.
The big pipe they contracted. And people will die when they hear the size of the pipe. The main line is 10 inches, drops to an 8, over 3,000 foot of it. All the laterals are 4-inch. And I don't know if you know what loop mains or not.
Yeah.
But just think about this. Your body is the main line.
Mm-hmm.
Pull your hands together. Watch your flow. Most people don't know.
And altogether, now you're irrigating about 65 acres. Is that right?
Right.
Wow.
That's awesome. On a 10-inch water line for the summer.
That is out of the pressurized.
And how many years has the organization, the water company, been in operation now?
You said 20?
20.
20 years.
Started in 2002.
Yeah.
We were operational in 2005. And I was president of the corporation until my health got to the point I couldn't keep up.
Couldn't do it. Yeah, couldn't do it.
Nope.
So my question is, do you meter it? Is it metered for everybody?
No, it's not.
Okay.
So everybody's.
So it's kind of.
They talk about it. They hum and hee-haw. North Logan says any new development has to have secondary water, no culinary.
For outdoor irrigation.
Yeah. Right.
Well, Carlos,
yeah, that is an awesome project, and congratulations on a successful project. And I love it. I think it's great that you're able to come together with your neighbors and make that happen.
Well, I'm doing another one.
Oh, are you? Good for you.
Yes, awesome.
You don't realize my age. I know my voice is throwing you.
It sounds like you're like 15. So yeah.
No, I'm 87.
All right.
Wow, good for you.
That's a good project to keep you rolling. So with
I'm going over the hill to Boxelder County, to where I grew up, and we're going to put it in and convert the city of Bear River to secondary water. Everything rolling.
Yep. So the Cache Water District is working on that project with the NRCS, and it's gone through the exploratory phase, and they've done the environmental impact statement and everything. And if that goes through and we get the funding that we're looking for, we will have secondary water for probably 50% of Logan and possibly North Logan and Hyde Park as well too, off of one irrigation canal, and that's just using the shares that are available
that are already
there. Yeah.
Wow.
So that won't impact the water for agriculture, but it will make it available for residents as well too. Great. So we'll see how that pans out in the near future. But I think it's extraordinary what we could do.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Carlos, we thank you so much for the call, and good luck with hopefully you have the same success over in Box Elder County as you've had over here. And that opens up a phone line at 435-753-5868 if you have a question, comment about watering, or we haven't even talked about insects yet and diseases that we're seeing right now in gardens. So we've got still a lot to talk about in the last 12 minutes or so.
Popping up. We're seeing powdery mildew, a bunch of powdery mildew since we're getting a little bit of monsoonal moisture. We've had some more clouds, and we've had a little bit of moisture. We haven't had a lot of rain, but we've had more.
A little bit more moisture in the air.
You could feel it. Yeah, you could actually feel it. And so when that happens, especially the end of July, first part of August, we start to see powdery mildew. So this is the time of year to use a fungicide like Fungicide 5 from Fertilome, or Complete Disease Control, or Copper Soap. These are natural fungicides that will do a great job on powdery mildew, but they're safe to use right up to the minute you're going to harvest your plants and eat them. And so very, very low toxicity for people, very effective on the diseases. And we found even our compost tea. really has some antifungal benefits to it, because the bacteria that's in there is good bacteria, and it eats the bad bacteria and the bad fungal diseases, and it just like breaks them down on the plants.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it actually does help with disease as well too. So the compost tea will essentially do the same thing. And so very effective way to control powdery mildew. We are starting to see squash bugs. And so we've had multiple people come in and their vines were great. And then 2 days later, their squashes were like dead. Yeah. And so squash bugs been a bit of an issue. Mosquitoes have kind of started to crop up again, so we're starting to see mosquitoes. And we had a couple mosquitoes test positive for West Nile, so it's a good idea to make sure and use your repellent.
Yeah.
Make sure and use a repellent in your yard, the cedar oil. Awesome product. And then if you need to, spray and knock those guys down. Permethrin's probably the best for mosquitoes because it has some repelling as well as killing properties to it. And it is safe for fruits and vegetables and turf and ornamental plants around the house. Yeah, it's a very low toxicity type product for controlling that type of insect. So mosquitoes have kind of been bad. I did find out that Fertilome is putting out a grasshopper repellent for next year, and it's called Grasshopper Go.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's basically the same thing as the Mosquito Go.
Okay.
But it's labeled for grasshoppers.
Now, is it similar to like the cedar oil that we've used in the past, where it just it's smell? They just do not.
And it's made specifically for grasshoppers. So we are very excited about that. So the Grasshopper Go should be an outstanding product, and it is all natural, and it's safe to use in your yard and keeps grasshoppers out. So
okay,
yeah.
Now, is it all types of grasshoppers? Would it even Mormon crickets and things like that?
As far as I know, it should work on the Mormon crickets because they're kind of in the same family, and it works on mosquitoes. Obviously, it works on moths. So any type of flying insect, it seems to work really well. But the way the cedar oil works is it actually irritates their breathing apparatus. So however they breathe, it just irritates it to the point where they have a hard time breathing, so they just leave and go somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, so it irritates their, I don't even know if they have lungs, but it's however they breathe, and they usually don't breathe in through their mouth. They breathe in through the ventricles on the sides of their bodies, especially grasshoppers. And so it irritates them, and they just are so uncomfortable that they leave and they go somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Grasshopper Go going to be coming out next year.
Go. So pretty excited about that as well too. And we're seeing aphids cropping up. We're seeing tobacco budworms. So we're actually treating the petunias and the geraniums on Center Street and on Main Street almost weekly right now because they have been so aggressive this year. So we're trying to prevent them before they eat all the flowers off of all the plants. And so we've been a little bit more aggressive spraying this year because the tobacco budworms, we've just seen tons of adults. So it's a moth that comes out about 7 to 9 o'clock at night, and it looks like a hummingbird. And so it's got wings that it beats very quickly. It's got a long snout on its nose, or proboscis, or whatever they call it. And they kind of get into the flowers with their long nose, and they're very recognizable. Yeah.
And they almost, if you catch them at the wrong time, they'll scare you.
Yeah,
too. I know our kids hated them when we were growing up.
A little creepy.
When our kids were younger. Yeah, those things are a little bigger and funny. A little frightening to them.
So tobacco budworms. And then you mentioned your corn's tasseling. So if your corn is starting to tassel, now's the time to start thinking about prevention on corn earworms. And so as soon as the silks start to form on your ears, and those ears will start showing up shortly after the tassels come out, because the pollen drops off the tassels onto the ears and pollinates your corn. So as soon as the silks start to show up, that's when your corn earworm moths come in, and they lay their eggs right on the silks. And as those eggs hatch out, they'll follow the silks right into the ear of corn, and then they'll start munching on your corn on the inside. And so spinosad soap, those are probably BT. Those are probably your very, very best options because they're bacterias. They kill caterpillars like crazy. You can treat those silks once or twice during the maturation season, as they're starting to get pollinated. You can treat them just a couple times and you can prevent the corn earworms completely. And I use the liquid, so I'll just walk up and down the rows and I'll just spray the silks with it. And if you're using the spinosad soap or the spinosad, it lasts about a week, maybe 10 days at the most. It's a bacteria. Doesn't hurt people at all, so it's not going to hurt you at all. But if those moths come and lay their eggs on there and those eggs hatch out, it will kill the larva before it gets into the corn. And it's very, very effective and super, super safe for people to use. So spinosad soap, or BT, which is called Bacillus thuringiensis, or Thuricide. So
now, what about I love to use 7 a lot.
Yeah.
Now, can you just spray the silks? Will it have that same effect?
Just the silks, yeah. So just spray right where the ear is attached and the silks are kind of sticking out. I'll kind of spray the whole ear and the silks, just in case. And the 7 would work great also.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just offering some organic options out there, but the 7, very safe to use also on the corn, and it has a little bit longer residual. And on the corn, I think it's 24 hours from when you spray to when you can harvest. It's a very, very short interval. So very short.
Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
Very effective.
Well, still just about 5 more minutes and have just a few more minutes we can talk and get back to, you mentioned insects really bad this year, powdery mildew.
Yeah.
Watch out for. And then also, too, you were mentioning earlier, Anderson Seed and Garden this week. All trees, shrubs,
lots of stuff on
blowing
sale.
Those out.
Yep, lots of stuff on sale. So it is almost the end of July. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Next week when we do the show, we're going to be in August.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So to try and move some plants out, get people excited about planting, we've got roses are on sale, trees, shade and flowering trees are on sale. All of our flowering shrubs and evergreens, 20% off. Our vines as well, too. And then fruit trees are 25% off. And we've got small fruits that are on sale from 20 to 40% off. So we've got some really good deals on those as well, too. Great time to plant. And then just want to remind everybody, this is prime time for planting grass. So if you've got a new house, or if you want to rejuvenate your turf, or if you want to take your park strip out and put all new grass in your park strip, we have drought tolerant grasses that look amazing, that use half the water or less, and they're soft and low maintenance. And if you're not watering as much, guess what? You're not mowing as much either. So you don't have to mow as much. And these grasses look great, use minimal water, and the texture's nice. You can walk on them, and they are easy to germinate right now. So I was telling somebody the other day, if you planted like our Anderson Select mix, which is a hybrid bluegrass mix, blend, whatever we want to call it, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to germinate in April.
Okay.
So 3 to 4 weeks for it to come up in April. Right now, it's up in 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Under a week.
5 days you can have that grass germinate and come up. So between now and really about the 20th, 25th of September, that is prime time for planting grass. This is the best time of year to plant grass. So if you're tired of your old lawn getting eaten by bugs, getting affected by disease, having to water it so much to keep it looking good, or fertilize it constantly to keep it looking good, there are new varieties of grass that you can incorporate into that turf or get rid of that turf. It's really easy to do. Just spray it, kill it, and then overseed with a new variety of grass. I mean, within a couple of weeks, you'll have brand new grass in there. You'll be mowing it. I mean, here it is the end of July. If you plant right now, you'll mow it by Labor Day.
Wow.
You'll be mowing it by Labor Day. And by the end of the year, you won't even know that you killed it and started all over. And it's really not that difficult to do, especially if you take it in bite-sized chunks. If you do 20,000 square feet all at once, it's a little bit more work than if you're doing 2,500 square feet. But you can replace your grass in your park strip and in your front lawn really, really, really easily, and put in one of these varieties of grasses that bugs won't eat, Diseases won't be affected by diseases. Uses half the water. Still looks great. Don't have to mow as much. And we're talking 5 cents a square foot.
Yeah.
5 cents a square foot. I mean, honestly, it's nothing.
And your favorite blend when it comes to grasses, is it still Mark's Mix?
The Mark's Mix is hard to beat. It's a turf-type rye, turf-type fescue mix, and it resists every disease, every insect that's out there except snow mold.
Okay, yeah.
Except snow mold. It's a dark green. It looks great, but we're really kind of loving the new Eden. And the Eden has a dwarf tall fescue in it, and it blends in really, really well with a very aggressive, creeping, drought-tolerant bluegrass.
Okay.
And so it gives you the best qualities of both, and one is super drought-tolerant, and one repairs itself really well.
Okay.
And so the combination looks great, very, very minimal water and low maintenance, and it's just awesome grass. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. All right, so a couple of recommendations there. Eden, Mark's Mix. You can get more information about planting grass at Anderson Seed and Garden, and join us again next week here on The Garden Guide on KVNU.
Miss a minute, you're missing a lot. Breaking news.